Okay, so 512 in your books. 512 in your books.
Oh, Teresia, you're getting videotaped.
Should I redo that? Start it over from take one? You want to
I thought maybe you got your license and then we're too good to go.
Oh, no.
You trying to read it?
Alright, 512. So yesterday we talked about renting apartments. Today we're going to talk about the home buying process, which we talked about last year, a long time ago, at the end of first semester last year. So some of this might be review, but let's think about this little sentence I'm about to tell you. Owning a home is a major component of the American dream. Owning a home is a major component of the American dream. Think about what that means to you, and is home ownership part of your dreams? So I'm going to give you just a minute to sit quietly and think about that. And I don't want you all to answer at once. We'll go 10 more seconds. Be thinking. 10 seconds.
Can you say the sentence again?
Yeah. Owning a home is a major component of the American dream. What does that mean to you, and is home ownership a part of your dreams? Anybody want to volunteer? Oh, Eugene, you want to volunteer?
No, I have a
Okay.
question. So, are we telling you what the American dream is and how does it cooperate with us?
Everyone has different.
Yeah, no, you're telling me if owning a home is a part of your American dream.
Yes, it is.
It is?
Yeah.
Why?
Because be independent.
You want to be independent. Okay, I like it. You don't want to live in mom's basement for the rest of your life.
No.
Okay, good. Did you say she's not going to let you? Oh, if she's willing to let you. Okay, I think eventually you might want to get out, but okay. Is it a part of your American dream, Gary? No? Why not?
If it happened, yeah. Like it's not a goal of mine to own a home. Like a goal of mine to get out of my current house. But like I
Okay, so you're okay with renting. Are you thinking you're going to work a job where you're going to want to move around a lot? Is that why you're thinking renting is okay? Yeah, okay. Okay. Kelly.
Well, I want to stay in one place, so I want to own him, and I don't know. I guess it's just because you don't have to. That's one less person you have to follow under, and you make your own decisions with your own house. It's yours.
Right.
I don't know. It's almost kind of like some people want that perfect future thing. I guess owning a house is part of it.
2.5 kids and a white picket fence.
Yep.
Yeah. 2.5 kids and a white picket fence. That's the typical American family.
I think the dog is.
No, it's because some of us only have one, and some have 3, and some have 5, and some have 2, so it equals out to 2.5 kids and a white picket fence. How about you two? What do you think? Either one of you want to own a home? Yep, you. The front row. Yep, you're up.
At some point, but more later in life.
Later in life, you'd like to own a home?
Well, not 30, like in 40 or some, I don't know,
Okay, so you want to be in your 40s before you own a home.
know.
Okay, so are you thinking you're going to try and do the Dave thing and pay cash for it if you want to wait that long?
If I can, yeah.
Okay, I like that. That's okay too. Paying cash is fantastic if you have it. Absolutely. Teresia, owning a home part of your American dream?
I don't know, Miss Byron. That's when I graduate college. I don't even know. I haven't thought much
You
past
can't think that far?
No.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay, that's okay. Dre, do you want to own a home? You want to make fun of Teresia? How about you? Do you want to own a home?
Yeah.
Yeah? Why?
Because
Financial commitment.
I want to be out on my own.
Okay. You want to be out on your own?
With a wife, though.
Right, because somebody has to cook and clean for you, right?
I mean, I can
Just
do
like
it
your
by
mom will.
myself. There's always instructions.
There's YouTube for everything, huh?
Steak don't come with instructions.
Giselle.
I just had a question, like, isn't it, even though you own a home, you still have to pay like some kind of property?
Absolutely, yep. Even, okay, so if I was filling out an application, on my application, I would put that I own my home, even though I still owe Old National Bank quite a bit of money for my house, so I don't technically own it, and then yes, I always have property taxes. That's why when we play cash flow, the two things that you can't ever get rid of are taxes and other expenses, because your taxes you're always going to have no matter what, be it property taxes, income taxes. You're always going to have some kind of tax. If you inherit a bunch of money, you're going to have inheritance taxes. So they're going to get you some way, right? And then other expenses, we always have utilities and food and things of that nature. So you're never going to get away from paying those types of things. So even if you own your home, lots of times people say they own a home, but they don't technically own the home. Do you see what I'm saying? The home is not theirs. If they stopped paying the mortgage payment, some bank probably really owns their home. If I stop paying my mortgage payment, Old National is going to take my house. So it's not really my house. So, yeah. Fernando, you want to own a home?
Yeah, at some point.
At some point? Are you thinking 40 or 25?
Probably in between.
In between, okay, all right. In between 40 and 25.
Boy. Keep us on nobody.
Yeah, I guess it depends on how long you go. Yeah. I graduated at 21 and bought my house at 24.
What do you mean buy?
That's her getting titty.
Just get a house with still own it, or like you?
Absolutely, yeah. That house that I bought 10 years ago, I'm still paying on.
Okay.
Yeah, I have a
Wait,
mortgage.
did you rent it? Wait, do you live there still?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that is the house my family lives in. Yep. But when you buy a home, well, actually, what we're going to talk about today, that's a great springboard into what we're going to talk about. When you buy a home, that whole process of home buying is a long, very stressful process. But again, as I was just saying over here, I still have to make those mortgage payments because if I don't, Old National is going to take my house. So while I bought a home, I can't stop making payments. But instead of renting, before I was renting, so now instead of renting, I'm paying actually less than I paid to rent a one-bedroom apartment to own a three-bedroom home. And so every month as I pay my mortgage payments, they're going towards something as opposed to going towards someone else's pockets. So that's the difference. But the other difference is, as we talked about yesterday, when something goes wrong at my home, I have to fix it. Yeah. Well, I don't. Jack does. And we all know Jack can't, so really I'm calling my dad to see if he'll come fix it. Did you have a question?
Yeah.
What's up?
Could you flip houses?
Could you flip houses?
Yeah, I thought that you.
You could, yeah. You don't want to call it that, but yes, you could. They being like realtors and appraisers and those kinds of people kind of call that the F word because you don't really want to call it that. Banks don't like that idea. But when Edgar asked, can you flip a house? And what that means is you buy a house that's probably foreclosed on or maybe ran down a little bit, maybe a little older. You fix it up. You've all seen the shows on HGTV, I would think. My mom watches them 24 hours a day. You fix up the house and then sell it for hopefully a whole lot more than what you bought it for. And then you make a decent profit, turn around and invest it in another home and continue doing that same thing. You have to pay taxes on your profits. So again, there goes those taxes, Giselle. They're going to get you one way or another. So you're going to pay taxes on those profits. There's 6 steps for the home buying process. Again, we talked about these last year, but let's go through them again. So the first step is, what are your home ownership needs? So step 1 is, what are your needs? What are you looking for in a house? What kinds of things do you think you might be looking for in a house? Oh, I like it. Air conditioning. Okay. What else might we want in our house? You want all electric utilities?
Yeah.
Okay.
Water, what you just said.
Well, I hope it comes with water. That shouldn't be.
You want to pray?
Hospitals.
Location. What about bedrooms? How many bedrooms do you think you might want?
Like 3.
Okay, so your needs, but your needs might be different than the person sitting next to you, right?
Yeah, so open.
For instance, I probably only need a 3-bedroom home. It's just Jack and I with Gentry. However, my brother now has 3 kids, so they're building a 5-bedroom home because there's so many of them. So our needs are definitely different depending on A, maybe where we are in life, or B, what we decide to do with our lives. I decided to only have 1 kid. Who knows when they'll finish having kids, but so bedrooms, and it's going to be different for everyone. What about bathrooms? Do you think you could live with only 1 bathroom?
I need to guess a bathroom in my
You want to have 2. You want to have some guest quarters. Okay. Back in the day, and maybe this is some of you as well. Back in the day, my cousins, it was a family of 5, and they grew up with 1 bathroom.
How?
1 bathroom. I don't know how people do it. With no shower, it just had a bathtub. Yeah. They lived in a really old farmhouse. Caleb.
At my dad's, it was 8 of us.
8 with 1 bathroom.
It's my parents and my dad is 16.
Jeez. I don't know how you do it.
I don't live there now, but I did.
Another need that you could think about is if you're living in the city, do you need, kind of location-wise, do you need to own an actual house, or would you be okay in a condo or a townhome of some sort? Or even in New York City, people own studios. So, you know, you're going to want to think about that kind of thing. Do you want a single-family house where you have to take care of the lawn and you have to take care of all of the stuff that goes along with it, or would you prefer something where maybe the lawn is taken care of, the snow is shoveled, you know, the common areas are clean? That's another thing to think about when you're determining your home ownership needs.
Is security?
Security, yep, that's a great thing. I know you all have seen the news lately and the stuff going on like East 34th Street. There were the two shootings that were there within a couple weeks of each other. And there was a lady on the news that said, "I'm breaking my lease and getting out of here."
I don't blame her.
Yeah, so crazy. Another thing you might want to think about with your needs is affordability, right? Can you afford whatever you're looking to buy? Do you have the down payment necessary for the house you're looking to buy? Down payments can vary greatly, actually, but depending on the programs. For instance, when I bought my house, there was a program out at the time. It was called the Good Neighbor Program, and depending on where you bought and what your job was, you could buy with no money down. You won't find a program like that anymore. The lending has really, really changed because of the foreclosure crisis we had. Lending has changed dramatically. So you're now going to have to put something down. But you can actually put as little as 3 or 6% down and still finance the rest of your purchase. So, but no, obviously, when something goes wrong with your house, you have to have the money to fix it. So you can't just make enough to cover your monthly payment. You have to have some extra that you're putting in the bank somewhere in some kind of emergency account so that when those emergencies arise, you have money to pay for them. I recommend, and many people I would say recommend, start out with a small house. You don't have to start out with the biggest house in the neighborhood and a house as big as what your family lives in right now. Start out with something small and then trade up. I know many of you had Mr. Espic last year. He actually started with a house over here on the east side. This is where he grew up. He's an East Sider. And they bought that house, fixed it up, and were able to sell it and make a nice profit, and they now live in Geist. So he would die if I just told you that because he claims he's not in Geist, but he is. And they're actually looking to move up again because they were able to fix up the home they bought. They bought an older home, fixed it up, and now they're looking to move again. So don't think that you have to start in the mansion. It's okay to start small and build your way up. sell those houses, make money on them, and then go up to bigger, better things. Step 2. So step 1 is what are your needs. Step 2 is find and evaluate a property. So last year, step 2 is find the property. How did we find a property? We went online, yes. Does anybody remember where we went?
Rent.com.
No,
Apartmentfinder.com.
my board, something.
Yep, you're right. MyBoard is where we went. MyBoard.com. Nice memory, Edgar. Metropolitan Indianapolis Board of Realtors is what that stands for. And when you're looking for the property to purchase, and you go on myboard.com, the one thing you could do when you looked at the state of Indiana was pick a location, right? You could pick exactly what county, what school system, whatever you wanted to be in. So you want to make sure when you're finding a property, you're picking a location that works for you. Did any of you happen to see the news? It was like right when school started about the family in Brownsburg that wanted to keep their chickens inside the city limits. Anybody see that story?
I did.
You guys saw that story? Okay. So the reason I'm saying this is because when you're looking for a property, if you think you might want to keep chickens someday, know the zoning laws. Know whatever the covenants are for the neighborhoods that you're looking to buy in. And if you're looking with a good real estate agent, my board, Metropolitan Indianapolis Board of Realtors, if you're working with a good real estate agent, then they should help you with all of that. The other thing I can tell you is when I bought my house, I used a friend for a realtor. I will never use a friend again. And the problem is, and I think I probably, if you were in my class last year, we maybe talked about this, because I was her friend, everything got put on the back burner. It was like all of her real clients came first, even though she was making the same amount of money off of me. So, but she kept pushing me to the back burner because I was a friend. So I would tell you, find a real estate agent that others recommend, but I wouldn't go with a friend. Like, never again. Both Jack and I are like, no way, never will we use a friend again. And when I wanted to put the first offer in on my house, Jack and I had agreed with what we wanted to offer on the home. She was like, I don't know. And Jack called her, Jack didn't know her, and Jack called her and was like, look, you work for her, not the other way around. This is the offer she wants to put in on the home. You write the offer. Like, that's your job. So, gentlemen, you probably won't have the same issue that ladies might have working with realtors, but hopefully you have someone that can kind of lay the hammer down, I guess, for lack of a better word, on a realtor if they're not doing what you want. And then the next thing you want to do when you find a property, you want to make sure to get an inspection. Because an inspection is going to find things like mold, termites, water damage, bad roofs. When they did my inspection, the guy checked every single outlet to make sure they worked. He turned on all of the water and then ran the dishwasher. He turned on every faucet, ran the dishwasher, and started the washing machine, I think. And then flushed the toilets or something. I don't know, because I was in the house with him going, whoa, there's a lot of pressure in this house. Okay, I wouldn't have even thought to do that. So you want to make sure to hire a home inspector because they are trained in doing those things and they're going to know what to look for.
And also one of the things Mr. Westbrook told me last year, if you do that, you want to maybe do it in summer because they can't turn on the air conditioner after a certain month or something.
Yeah, you don't really want to. Typically, homes don't sell real well in the winter anyway. But you're right because you can't check out the heating and cooling systems. Well, the cooling system if it's the middle of winter because it won't run. It's not good for it. Yeah, definitely important. The other thing that happens in the winter, if the roof is covered with snow and they can't actually check the roof, then they tend not to. So you're kind of going sight unseen with a roof that you don't really know about. So definitely important.
But if there was something wrong with the roof, wouldn't it leak from the snow melting?
But see, if it's cold enough and the snow's not melting yet, then you wouldn't find that until spring when the snow starts to melt. Now you've already bought the house. Now you have a problem. So yeah, you have to be careful. I bought my house in March, and it was pushing it. There was snow on the roof, but he got up there and was able to look around, but he had to do it pretty cautiously. So you definitely want to conduct a home inspection, because they're going to look at, you know, the exterior, the interior, the workings, the plumbing and the electrical and all of that good stuff. And then they'll give you a report. When they give you a report, depending on what they find, you can get out of your contract. Remember, we wrote our contracts last year for the houses we picked on MyBor? Once you sign on that line and it gets accepted, that's your house, unless there's some big thing in the inspection that comes up, and then you wouldn't have to buy the home. So the inspection report, like for instance with my house that I have, one of the things that came up was the furnace is too close to the wall. Okay, well when CP Morgan built the house, they did that. You can't change that now. We can change it when we get a new furnace, whatever that is, but what am I going to do about that now? You know, it was like 4 inches from the wall and it needed to be 6 inches. Something like that. There's some things you can't do anything about. Another issue with my house was that, I don't know if you guys realize this or not, but underneath a toilet there's a wax ring, and that's what keeps it from rocking. So if you've ever sat on a toilet and it's rocked, it's because the wax ring is bad. So it needed a new wax ring. The people who owned the home fixed the wax ring, brought a receipt to closing to show that they did that repair. All is good. You also can hire a handyman or have the service taken care of for you and bring a receipt to show you did it that way. But you typically have to decide who's going to fix what when it comes to a home inspection. The third step is price the property. What price should you offer to pay? So we found a property. Now we're going to price the property. Anybody remember what I said from last year regarding price? Let's say the house is $150,000. Lily, what would you offer on that house?
I have a question.
Okay, what's up?
So if a house had all those things that needed repaired, wouldn't it cost less, but then you pay more in the long run?
It would depend on what the repairs were. If it's little minor things like a wax ring on a toilet is no big deal. Literally, it was like a $6 fix. They fixed it, brought the receipt. It was not a big deal. If it's big items, then you can typically either get out of your contract or take some money off the price of the home, or agree to have some kind of money come back to you to fix those things at closing.
So like if they don't tell you that those things happen?
You're either going to find it out in your inspection, or it's buyer beware. So if your inspector doesn't find it, then there's nothing you can do about it once you own the home. That's why we were saying don't buy in the winter, because there are things that the inspector can't find. Yeah. $150,000 house. How much are we going to offer on that? What do you think? Teresia?
25?
125?
No. Are you buying it? Or
Yeah, we're buying it. It's a
Oh.
$150,000 home. Would you offer 125?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's good. What were you thinking, Edgar?
I was gonna say 120, but then that's a little bit pushy.
Yeah, 120 is a little bit pushing it, because if you remember from last year, if we offer too low, what happens?
They just don't.
They reject it. They walk away. You've made them mad, and they don't want any part of it. So you have to be very careful, but it's okay to toe the line a little bit, because you don't know, right? And if you don't, and it's okay. So if our property just came on the market yesterday, I wouldn't say offer 120. If our property's been sitting on the market for a year, I'd definitely say offer 120. They're probably likely to wheel and deal at that point, because they've been trying to sell their home for an entire year. So it's going to make a difference. Or if you notice that it is a relocation, meaning they got a job across the country, their company is currently paying the mortgage on this house. Typically, companies just want to move the homes. So they're going to typically deal a little more than someone who's like, well, I'd like to move, but if it sells, it sells, and if not, okay. You know. Eugene, what were you thinking?
134.
134. Okay. That's good, and then you'd probably meet in the middle at like 145. Yeah. That's the other thing. You want to give yourself some wiggle room, because they're going to give themselves some wiggle room. So when you price your home, don't go too low, but go low enough that you're willing to then meet in the middle. Okay? Let's see. Step 4, obtain financing. This is the most stressful step in buying a house. Step 4 is the financing. Unless you're Edgar and you're just going to pay for it. Cash money. But if you're not just going to pay for it, financing, it takes a month or longer. They want all kinds of documents from you. 2 years of tax returns, pay stubs, your checking account, and if you have a large deposit in your checking account, you have to say what it's from. If you spend a large amount of money out of your checking account, you have to say what you spend it on. Like they being the bankers or whoever you get your mortgage through, they will scrutinize everything. When I was a lender at Fifth Third, I had a deal that was set to close, and it was going back through underwriting, which are the people who look at everything, and they re-pull your credit right before you're set to close, and the chick had taken out a new car loan. Her debt-to-income ratio was still fine, but it was the fact that she just took on more debt, and they denied her mortgage. So, when you're going to buy a home, during those few months, don't do anything. And then once you get the loan and close on the home, then go buy your new car. Don't do it beforehand though. When you're looking for a mortgage, call around. Fifth Third's rates are probably different than Teachers Credit Union, are probably different than Chase, are probably different than a mortgage broker. And I would tell you, steer clear of a mortgage broker if you can. A mortgage broker is a person who's going to sell your loan and try and find you a deal, but how do you think they make money on the deal? They are the middleman, you are right. And being the middleman means they
charge you for services.
They charge you for their services. Yep, typically about $5,000.
No, thank you.
That was usually what I saw when I was closing loans, about $5,000. So if you can stay away from a mortgage broker, do so. Go to your bank or a credit union and use them. Your realtor, depending on who your realtor works with, will try and push you toward a mortgage broker because they tend to work together. Tell them you'll go to your banker and you'll take care of it that way. We learned about some types of mortgages last year. Fixed rate mortgage, what does fixed rate mean?
The rates and charges.
Right, your rate's not going to change. It's going to stay the same for 30 years. Your interest rate will stay the same for 30 years. So adjustable rate mortgage is the opposite of that, right? There's a couple of different adjustable rate mortgages. There's a 3-1 arm. There's a 5-1 arm. I think there was, I don't know if there still is, a 7-1 arm. ARM stands for adjustable rate mortgage. What do you think the difference is between the 3-1, the 5-1, and the 7-1?
Different number of payments?
No.
Interest.
The interest rates are different, yes, but that's not. It's
the years?
Yeah. For 3 years, this mortgage is fixed, and then it adjusts every year after that. For 5 years, this mortgage is fixed, then it adjusts every year after that. And for 7 years, this mortgage is fixed, and then it adjusts every year after that. Adjustable rate mortgages are scary. So be very careful if you choose to do an adjustable rate mortgage, because if you can barely make this payment at what it is for 3 years, and then it adjusts and it goes up, because it adjusts depending on whatever the interest rates are doing at the time. So if you can barely make that mortgage payment and then it goes up, what happens? You can lose your house. So be very careful with adjustable rate mortgages, okay?
Would you say if you were going to buy a house and stuff, you financed it, then because don't they usually start really low?
The ARMs,
So-
they're low, a little, yeah.
So if you were planning to maybe finish paying for your house like in 6 years, and then you have a wiggle like that extra year. in
Right,
case
if you were doing
don't-
this one?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
What kind of mortgage do you have?
I have a 30-year fixed mortgage, but I will tell you, when I bought my home, I bought it on a 3-1 ARM. And I was very, very lucky. It adjusted, well, I owned it on a 3-1 arm for 8 years, so it adjusted 5 times. Of the 5 times it adjusted, only once did it go up, and it went up by like $20 a month. It was not a big deal, but it could have went up as much as 2% a year. 2% can be a big deal on $100,000. So you have to be very careful. I would not say I was smart when I bought my first home. I wanted to get out of an apartment, and I was looking for the quickest, easiest way, and that was what I went with. And now, knowing what I know, I would not do that again. But no one told me not to, so I did. In fact, the mortgage broker was like, oh yeah, this is a great idea. Again, don't go with friends. Step 5. All right, so we've got through step 4. We have 2 steps to go. Step 5, close the transaction. That's the easy part. There's 6. Step 5 is the closing. That's the easy part, with the exception of the fact that you will pay closing costs. But do you guys remember when we wrote our purchases last year? We wrote in that the seller was going to pay all of our closing costs. Do you remember doing that? We wanted them to pay for as much as they could. So if you're buying a home, you want to try and do that. Try and get them to pay for the title insurance, to pay for the closing costs, to pay for the deed, to pay for the recording, to pay for all of that stuff. Because the more you can get them being the seller, to pay for, the less money you have to bring to closing. Okay? So you want to get as much as you can paid for at closing. And then the 6th step is, I don't know, I thought there were 6. Maybe there's only 5. Closing fees can be about, it totally depends, because the title insurance, I thought there were 6 steps. I guess there's only 5 steps, sorry, I thought there were 6. Edgar asked about closing fees, closing costs. Closing costs vary based on title insurance, and title insurance varies based on the price of your home. Title insurance ensures that there's no liens against the home. If you had me last year, you would remember maybe me talking about the family that spread Grandpa's ashes in the front lawn, and it showed up on their title work. Do you guys remember that at all? Yeah. And they wanted to be able to go back and visit Grandpa anytime. Grandpa was spread around a tree in the front lawn. His ashes were. So literally when they pulled title work, it showed family is allowed to come visit the oak tree in the front yard at any time. If that family still had several mortgages on the home, that stuff all shows up on title work, which costs money. And then if by some chance the title company misses a mortgage, if you have title insurance, then the title company has to pay off that mortgage. So that way there's no liens against your home. You don't want there to be any liens or encumbrances against your home, and that's why you pay closing costs. But closing costs vary, title insurance varies based on the value of the home. How much were mine? I don't remember. I honestly don't remember. I would have to get my HUD and look at it. I'll try and remember to do that tonight for you, because I don't remember it all.
Was it minimum? Is something minimal?
No, I mean they can be upwards of a couple $1,000s. Yeah.
So you can just say to the seller, you could ask them, yeah, I'll meet the price, but
Absolutely, but I want $2,000 in closing costs or $5,000 in closing costs. Yeah. In fact, with my house, I actually asked for a carpet allowance because they had dogs and the carpet was pretty worn. And so I wanted to replace the carpet, but I didn't want them to replace it because I wanted the choice of what carpet I wanted. So we agreed on a carpet allowance. My brother and sister-in-law just did that same thing when they sold their home in Chicago. They wanted a carpet allowance. The family who bought the home wanted a carpet allowance because my brother and sister-in-law had a big dog, and when he was a puppy, he's actually been put to sleep now, that's how long they've had him, but when he was a puppy, he ate the carpet in front of the fireplace, and they like quasi-fixed it, they didn't really fix it. And so the family asked for a carpet allowance. They also had literally white carpet in their basement, and they've had 2 kids and a dog. Well, now 3 kids
It's
and
on
a
the
dog.
ground.
Yeah, so the family was like, and we want this repermitted. So, yeah, that was just something that they agreed on and they put into their purchase. So when you are ready to go find your property, there's 5 steps. Find your needs, how many bedrooms, location, all of that good stuff. Then find a property, which you can do on MyBor or Trulia. There's all kinds of places now to find a property. Price it. By the way, figure out what the houses in the area are going for too. That will help you with your price.
Those are called comps, right?
Those are called comps. Yep, exactly.
Okay.
Get your financing and then close the deal. You guys can buy houses. I know you can do it. Eugene. Yes. That is the end of chapter 16. So,